Okay, for this first question here, it's factorise. Now, what we mean by factorise, we mean by taking out or splitting it up into two common factors. Now, the first thing here we're looking at, we have to see what's common between the two of them. Well, we see that there's an x there and there's an x squared there. So x is definitely going to be outside the bracket, so I can write that in there. Now, we'll see also here that there's a 6 here and there's an 18 here. Well, 6 and 18, I can take out, they have a common factor, and their common factor is 6, so I can take 6 out there as well. So 6x multiplies by what to give 6x squared? Well, it's 6x times x gives 6x squared. 6x times what gives 18xy? Well, it's going to be minus 3y. And that's our question. That's our answer. All it is just taking out what's common. Next one here is very similar. We're taking out what's common, but we're going to do it in 2 steps. First thing, we look at these two. Look at that. We have a 7 there and a 7 there. So what I can do there is I can take 7 out of that, and I have a plus b. The next bit, look at this. I've got an ax there and an x there. So I can take out a plus x out of those two, and I get x times a plus b. Now, there's one little thing here we should notice, is that we've got an a plus b there and an a plus b there. So what I can write is, I can write this as 7 plus x times a plus b. So that's grouping 2 terms. Next question here is 25a squared minus 81. Now when you see this, and you see a number, look out for numbers like 81, 25, 36, square numbers. So I can write that 81 as that is equal to minus 9 squared. The 25a squared can be written as 5a in brackets 2b squared. Now there's a special thing when two things are squared and subtracted. It's the difference of two squares, and it's given by this, and it's in the formula books. A squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So I can go straight ahead and solve this. So instead of a, I've got 5a, so it's going to be 5a plus 9 times 5a minus 9. Moving on. This next problem involves 2 steps. What we've got is we have to factorize out the top line and the bottom line. So first off, I'm going to work with the bottom line. And if I work with the bottom line in blue, so I'm going to leave the line underneath there. So I'm just going to look at the bottom line here for the first bit. Now for the bottom line, I'll know that there's an x common to both terms, and also there's a 4. So I can factorize out 4x. What multiplies by 4x squared to give me, what multiplies by 4x to give me 4x squared is going to be x. What multiplies by minus 8 to give, what multiplies by 4x to give minus 8x, and it's going to be minus 2. That's the bottom line factorized. So that'll be, 1/3 of the way there. Now in the top line, we're going to be working with this here. Now these are a little bit different. That's a quadratic sum. So I have to do it like this with the 2 brackets. Now what I have to do is I have to split up the 4x squared. So you get 4x squared by either multiplying 2x by 2x or 4x by x. Next thing I look at is I'm going to be multiplying and looking for factors of minus 2. Well, it's going to be minus 2 and 1. And if you look to get the minus 7x there, you'll notice that it'll only work if I put the minus 2 there and the plus 1 there. Just do the quick check here. That gives plus 1x minus 8x. That gives me the plus minus 7x. So I know I'm correct. Now, we have factorized. That's that part done. The next thing is to simplify. Well, it's 4x plus 1 times x minus 2 over 4x times x minus 2. We can cancel. We can divide this x minus 2 into that one, and we end up with 4x plus 1 over 4x as our answer. So that equation there, or that expression there, is exactly the same as that one there. Next question. This is to factorize this equation. Well, to factorize this equation, if you remember, it's the brackets that we use. And we've got x there and x there, because it's x by x gives x squared. We have minus 35, so we're going to have factors of 35. So we've got a 7 and a 5 we'll try. Now we know that's a minus number, so the signs have to be different. It has to be a minus 7 and a plus 5, or a plus 5 and a minus 7. I'm going to try a minus 7 and a plus 5. Let's do the check. Well, minus 7 times x gives minus 7x. X times 5 gives plus 5x. When they add together, you get the minus 2x, so I know I'm correct. I can leave it like that. That's that question done, because it's only solve. It's not equal to 0. So we don't have to find the answers. It's just solve it. It's just factorize it. Now this next one here is a solving question. So what we have to do is first off rearrange it so it looks like an ordinary one. To do that, I have to subtract 8 from both sides. And what I end up with here is 3x squared plus 10x minus 8 is equal to 0. Again, we're going to have our brackets. We're going to have 3x and x. And we're going to have factors of 8. So we could have 4 and 2. Because this sign here is a negative sign, we know that the signs are going to be different. Now I know it's going to be... we're going to get a plus answer at the end, so it's going to be plus 4 there and minus 2x there, minus 2 there. Do our little check. Minus 2 times x gives minus 2x. 3x by 4 gives plus 12x. Plus 12x minus 2x gives us the plus 10x. I'm correct. I'm happy. I know that we're right. But we're not finished, because we're told that this expression is equal to 0, and we're asked to find the values where that's true. So I'll take this one. Either 3x minus 2 is equal to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. So for this one we have to solve it by, first off, it's 3x minus 2. The opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. So if I plus 2 to both sides, it stays equal. So I get 3x is equal to plus 2. What's the opposite of multiply by 3? It's divide by 3. So I divide both sides by 3 and I get x is equal to 2 over 3. Here, all I have to do to solve it is subtract 4 from both sides, and I get x is equal to minus 4. Next problem here. What we've got is solve this corrected 2 decimal places. Now, when you see corrected 2 decimal places, that means that it's not going to work out evenly. It's not going to work out, isn't the nice brackets way. What that means is that you have to go ahead and you have to solve it using the minus b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's going to take a few seconds because this takes a little bit longer, this expression does. Now we know that's true for ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So a will be 2, b will be minus 7, and c will be 4. So 4 is going to go in there, b minus 7 will go in there, and a will go in there and there. Always numbers. So our answers are x is equal to minus b. Well, minus 7 is plus 7. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 49, minus 4 times 2 times 4. All over 2 times a, which is 2 times 2. Now I'm going to just simplify this a little bit, but you could go ahead and put this straight into the calculator, but I'm going to split it up. I'm just going to simplify it a little bit, so it's a little bit quicker. It's going to be 7 plus or minus the square root of 49. 4 4s are 16, times 2 is 32. 49 minus 32 is 17 over 4. And this is where I'm going to put into my calculator. So here it is here. And I'm going to have fraction of 7. I'll go plus first. Square root 17 divided by 4. And that's equal to, corrected 2 decimal places, is 2.78. I don't have to do any rounding because that number is 0. So it's x is equal to 2.78, or the other option is this sign here is a minus. So I go back up to the question and just change that a little bit. Put in the minus. And I get 0.7 And then I do have to round this one because this number is greater than 5. If it's 5 or greater, then we add 1 to this. So that's going to be 0.72. 0.72. Okay, we're on to our last question now, which is a quick simultaneous equation. When we're asked to solve two equations like this, first thing is we number them. That's equation 1 and equation 2. And we write them above each other. So we'll have x plus 2y is equal to 13. And we've got 3x minus 5 is equal to 6. That's equation 1. And that's equation 2. That should be 3x minus 5y. I'm sorry. So, just fill in the y there for me, please, if you don't mind. So, what we have to do is to get these equations so that either the x's or the y's cancel. Now, we'll see that there's a difference in signs in the y's. So this is probably a nice one to go with. If we get the 2y and the minus 5y to cancel. Well, I can get these, I have to get those the same, but I have to do the same thing to both sides of an equation to keep it equal. So in equation 1, if I multiply both sides by 5, what do I get? Well, I get 5 times x gives 5x. 5 times 2y gives plus 10y, and 5 by 13 is equal to 65. Now in equation 2, to get that to the same but opposite sign, I have to multiply everything by 2. That will make this minus 10y as well. I'm going to multiply everything by 2. That will give me 6x. 2 by 3x gives me 6x. 2 by minus 5 is minus 10y. And 2 by 6 is plus 12. Now we can add them. And what we get is 5x plus 6x gives me 11x. The y's cancel because it's plus 10y minus 10y. It's just plus 0. It's not there. 65 plus 12 gives me the 77. So if 11x is equal to 77, I know I can, the opposite of multiply by 11 is divide by 11. Divide both sides by 11 and I get x is equal to 7. You're not finished here yet though. We know that x is equal to 7, so we have to go back and substitute it in. I'm going to pick this equation here and just put in 7 for x. So we've got x plus 2y is equal to 13. So 7 plus 2y is equal to 13. So 7, subtract 7 from both sides, we get 2y is equal to 6. And divide both sides by 2 and we get y is equal to 3. So in this, what we've covered is a full set of questions. If you can do all of them, you'll do well on the test.